Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Corey, better known as the Seaman. I want to welcome you to another edition of the Seaman's Cinema Sit-Down, as well as welcome you to Horror Movie Tuesday here at the Cinema Sit-Down. If you saw my quick update video I dropped yesterday saying, hey, sorry I've been gone, hey, I'm going to try to be back, and this is what's coming up, this week for you guys. You know that I designated Tuesday as Horror Movie Tuesday because, one, I've seen a bunch of horror movies. 2, there's been a couple horror movie trailers that I want to check out. And 3, the Seaman just loves him some horror movies, and I want to talk about all of it, try to get it all packed into just one day. And where we start is with a trailer. Oh, it's got me excited, man. I got a buddy. You guys have probably heard me mention my friend Joe, who I go check out a lot of horror movies with. He watched the trailer. I was like, don't spoil anything. He's like, I won't. But I'm going to tell you right now, man, I am ecstatic. It looks so good. And that gets me excited, man, because I love, like I said, horror movies, and this is one of the classics, and we're coming back with what is being called a spiritual sequel to the original 1992 version of this franchise movie, and it's being helmed by Jordan Peele, who is just a master already in the world of horror, and I trust anything this guy does inherently because he hasn't proven me wrong yet. So I'm very, very excited. I want you to pull up a chair, man, take a seat. We are getting ready to dive into the first official trailer for Candyman, due out this year in 2020. I'm pumped, man, and like what has worked in the past with some of these reboots to some of these franchises, specifically Halloween, we just saw this happen with. The idea of rebooting the franchise without remaking the franchise, right? Like, we're going to make the spiritual sequel to the original movie. And when you hear that, as a diehard horror fan, man, you get excited because spoilers, man. I'm about to spoil 1992's Candyman for you. If you don't know anything about Candyman and you want to watch the movie, then check out until you see the travel box pop up, and then we'll watch the trailer together. You can't dive into a Candyman trailer without knowing where you come from. And, the legend of Candyman is you say the name 5 times into a mirror. Candyman, 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 Candyman. I'm not dumb, so I ain't gonna say it the 5th time. It's not technically a mirror, but like sort of is because I can see myself in the record screen. But you say his name 5 times, he appears and then kills you with his hook. I believe it's his right hand. It might be his left hand. It's been a while since I've seen Candyman. But that's the legend, and where it comes from is this was the son of a slave who became very prosperous back around the Civil War and figuring out a way to mass-produce shoes. That opened the door for him to become an artist, and he was well-renowned, man, like world-renowned or America-renowned, artist, where he would do paintings and murals, and he was doing a mural of this white woman who he ends up having a child with, and when said white woman's dad finds out, he rallies up an entire mob of people, and they start by cutting off his hand, and then I believe they cover him in honey, and he essentially gets stung to death by bees. Brutal, right? And now that ghost kind of haunts this area in the 1992 version of Chicago called Cabrini Green, which is where his ashes were scattered back then, and this is where this building now takes place. And there have been some murders there, and our lead character, Helen Lyle, played by Virginia Madsen, kind of starts looking into urban legends, finds out about some murders there, sees that there's a lot of similarities to things that have been explained about Candyman, and ultimately finds that there is somebody killing people as if he's Candyman. Long story short, because that basically discredits Candyman, he does actually appear, and he starts just killing innocent people to remind everybody that he's real, and ultimately kind of ends up in a showdown with Helen, where he kind of ends up recruiting her. And the key things to the Candyman: hooked hand, open up the trench coat, lots of bees, and he can kind of envelop you. And then the interesting thing is it says it's the spiritual sequel is ultimately Helen becomes like a Candyman by the end of the movie. And into herself has been wrapped into the urban legend. So I'll be very interested. We know that Jordan Peele is a hardcore horror nut, man. He grew up with horror movies. He pulls elements from horror movies into his own personal movies. We've seen that with Us and with Get Out. And now here we see a guy going, I'm not even going to be afraid or abashed to tell you I'm diving into one specific world. You'd have to imagine he's going to pull things from the original. So I'm pumped, man. Like I said, I love Jordan Peele. I'm a big fan of all of these classic horror movies, and I'm also a big fan of Yahya Abdul-Mateen, who is the lead here. So I'm interested, man. We're going back to Chicago, to that same area where these original movie took place, but now we're in present day. So let's not waste any time. We're done spoiling the whole Candyman. Y'all can come back. Let's get our trusty little travel box up. All right, man, we are ready to get nice and small, so let's shrink it on down. Ooh, we are tiny. The trailer for Candyman is down below. Let's not waste any time. Let's see what Mr. Jordan Peele, which also I should mention that he is not directing here. He's giving the directorial duties to Nia DaCosta, who I am personally not super familiar with. She hasn't done too much. I think this is like the third or fourth major credit on her directing credits list, but she did a movie back in 2018 with Tessa Thompson called Little Woods. I haven't seen it. I'm now interested to see it. So if you also kind of want to get a little idea, she also did a movie called Top Boy in 2019. Those are kind of her two feature film films that she has prior to jumping into Candyman. But like I said, I inherently trust Jordan Peele completely, and if he's writing, I don't care who the director is, man. As long as they can get you into that world and that zone and work well with Peele, should be a hit. So let's not waste any more time. Let's take a look at this first official trailer for Candyman 2020.
Candyman. The urban legend is, if you say his name 5 times while looking in the mirror, he appears in the reflection and kills you.
Who would do
There
that?
you go. Start with the myth.
Candyman. Candyman.
Oh, man.
Candyman. Candyman. Candyman.
Well, we're still alive. Let's go.
Oh,
Tina,
jeez, you
you
gotta
broke the
come
door.
and kill all these girls while this girl is... There's a bee! Oh, no! Oh, God!
This isn't funny!
Oh, dude, I like you a lot already.
Really connected to this neighborhood. Cabrini Green.
There it is,
What's the
baby.
projects? I just moved in around the corner.
The old candy factory.
I'm an artist.
You looking for Candyman?
Ooh, I like that he's an artist. I like
It's
that.
part of this neighborhood.
Why are you drawn to this?
I'm hoping to spread the story all about Candyman. The mirror invites you to summon him.
Interesting. All
You should
right.
Say his name. I dare you.
Candyman.
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 Smart. It's always got to be
Don't
somebody
say
who's
that.
smart.
Candyman.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, dude.
I
Come
think I made a
on.
mistake. I brought him back.
Candyman isn't real!
Something's happening to me.
Is he gonna be...
He had a purpose for you to be another one of his terrible stories.
I guess he found me.
The writing on the wall. The sweet smell of blood.
I love this.
Be my victim.
This is not real. It's not real.
Oh, dude, it looks... Oh, I like it so much. I like that. Like, I'm not 100% positive, but when that voice started talking, I started to get really excited because I thought it might be Tony Todd, and then I was like, wait, I don't know, maybe it's not, it's not, it's so close. And oh man, you have to pardon. I have to go. Like I've gotta. There we go. Where? Let's do. Tony. Dude. All right. My reaction probably just gave it away. So like I said, the voice at the end of that trailer sounds so much like it could be Tony Todd. The imagery is so Candyman feeling and accurate. And we've had the director kind of tease that maybe Tony Todd would be in here. IMDb lists Tony Todd as Daniel Robitaille, which is the same name if you go to, if you go to Candyman 1992, it's the Candyman / Daniel Robitaille. Now, maybe it's just a flashback. Maybe there's a flashback to when this all went down, and he is Daniel Robitaille, and we see him like that. But if you see him in that instance, he's got to be the Candyman, which, if Jordan Peele and Nia DaCosta brought Tony Todd back to play the Candyman, oh my God, dude, even before I knew that, you had my money. But oh my gosh, dude, that's unbelievable. That's genius. It's so smart. It's not a role that demands a lot physically. And Tony Todd, I think, is in his late 60s, so like it makes so much sense if he's Candyman. I like that it's not listed, so maybe not. Because it's interesting. The other thing, before I just get totally obsessed with the idea of Tony Todd being Candyman, watching the trailer, the vibe I was getting, one is the imagery is so there, dude. I mean, when you saw the shadow with the rib cage and the eyes, I was like, oh! And there's the bees starting to show up. Even the imagery of the art, which I'm assuming is Yaya's artwork for his character, which is another thing I love. I love that his character, Anthony McCoy, is an artist, because that ties directly into like the lore of Candyman. And then watching the trailer, like it feels like Candyman. It's got the imagery, and then it's doing some really interesting things. One, Candyman only seems to appear in mirrors. That whole bathroom sequence, the minute that girl walked in, I was like, oh, he's going to show up now and kill all those girls. And great, you don't see a lot. Most of it's from the girl in the stall's point of view. But it looked like you saw things happening and people being pulled without physically seeing a body. That's a genius idea, right? Like you only see him in the mirror. That's a really interesting thing to play with. We've seen James Wan do that in the Conjuring universe. I think it was the most recent one, where like if you looked in the mirror of that's the only way you could see the ghost. So to use that's genius. And the other thing too that I was kind of getting was maybe Yaya is going to become Candyman. Like Candyman is going to like possess Yaya. That was there's things in that trailer, man. It's hard to tell, but like when he's walking around the car and looking at the reflection, I'm like, does the reflection look different at all? Like, has Candyman possessed Yaya? The sense I was getting was like that he's kind of falling into the madness and might be doing these things, maybe being embodied by the Candyman. That would be interesting to play with, and it would be an interesting thing if you took it to a place like that, where if you want to reboot this series and you're not sure how long you've got Tony Todd to be able to do him, if you are indeed doing Tony Todd as Candyman, what a cool way to pass the baton on. But like I said, the imagery, I mean, you see the hook, you see the bees, the voice, the line, like it's all there, man. It's all there, and it looks really, really good. Oh man, I am stoked. Yeah, I'm in. I'm so in. The question is, are you, dude? Are you in on Candyman? Do you think that was Tony Todd at the end of the trailer? I know IMDb says that he's playing Daniel Robitaille, which is the Candyman. But I don't know. Maybe it could be a misdirect. Who knows? But do you think it could be Tony Todd? Do you like the idea of possibly Candyman looking for another person to pass the baton to? Maybe turning Yahya Abdul-Mateen's character, Anthony McCoy, into the next Candyman. Do you like that, they're going back to the places that we know, like Cabrini Green, the imagery, the bees, the sense of the Candyman, seeing the hook? Does it all feel right to you? Are you in on Candyman 2020's reboot and spiritual sequel, if you will? Oh man, it feels like a spiritual sequel, and it feels a little bit more in that realm of spirits than even the old ones did, man. Do you like the twists and the tweaks that they have here, where you can only, it looks like maybe you can only see Candyman in a mirror, or the idea of him maybe trying to pass that baton, like I was saying. Anything you're thinking about Candyman and what got you excited or not excited about this trailer goes down below in the comments. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new, you all come hang out with the old C-Man as we build our way to, any upcoming trailers and things that'll come along the way as we move towards Candyman 2020, or just movies, trailers in general. You want to come hang out, and with the C-Man and do your trailers and review, reactions and reviews and stuff. Then please, I urge you to come join the Cinema Sit-Down Squad, man. You can jump right over there, hit that subscribe button, pop up in your feed. If you really like us, you can hit that little bell. You'll get alerts that'll pop up on your device the minute we drop any kind of video content. And hopefully there will be plenty more of that coming. Certainly today on Horror Movie Tuesday, there'll definitely be some more content. You want to be the first to know, hit that little bell, man, and that subscribe button. Come join the Cinema Sit-Down Squad. If you feel inclined, do that for the old C-Man. I'm going to keep cranking on the work for you guys until our next horror movie review or reaction. I'm C-Man. I am signing off, baby. Peace. Candyman. 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 Well, if you aren't still here looking for something else to check out that's C-Man related, why don't you check out a video like this guy or this guy? And if you really want to help the C-Man out in year 2, hit that subscribe button and come join the Cinema Sit-Down Squad, kids. You know what to do. See ya.